Something that used to really fuck with my head was how much my body image would change throughout the month. There'd be some weeks where I genuinely just feel good in myself. I would enjoy going clothes shopping, trying on new clothes, heading out for brunch and dinner. And there'd be other weeks where I hated, and I genuinely hated what I seen in the mirror. Clothes that fit me fine 2 weeks ago wouldn't button up, they felt tight, they felt uncomfortable. I didn't want to look at myself. I didn't even feel like being really social, just felt like I need a whole new wardrobe. And I would feel so frustrated with myself and spiral into thinking that I've just let myself go. Maybe I just didn't move as much as I should have. Maybe I was eating out too much, or in general just eating too much. And here's the thing, when you don't understand what is happening in your body and how the hormonal shifts that we as women experience throughout the month impact our perception of our body and our confidence, then you start to spiral. It turns into self-sabotage. Well, it did for me, because some of the things that used to come up was it was comparison. I would compare myself to others. I would scroll social media and look at people that I thought looked amazing and compare myself on my worst days where I felt bloated, was holding on to water, puffy, and in low mood, to the perfectly curated photos, thinking, why do they look like this and what is wrong with me? I would be obsessively checking myself out. Vain, I know, but the more bad I felt, the more I was over-analyzing my body. I would be looking in the mirror and picking apart everything that I just didn't like about myself that day, whether that was my stomach, my face breaking out, or my thighs touching. And I would brainstorm a whole fitness and diet plan that I would start on Monday. How much calories can I cut? What foods can I cut out? Where am I gonna get extra steps? Where can I add in cardio? It's as if I was blaming the lack of maybe discipline or willpower on how I let myself get to that place. And it created this vicious loop over and over. I'd feel great for 2 weeks, and then I would self-sabotage. And it wasn't until I understood what is biologically going on in my body that I finally got a grasp on why my body image and my overall perception of my body changes so much throughout the month. So what is happening is that in your luteal phase, which is the second half phase of your cycle leading up to your period, progesterone is dominating. And progesterone is known to increase water retention and create bloating. Also, what you might see is that the scales jump up, and some women experience from 5 to 10 pounds increases. It's not fat, it's simply your body holding on to more water. But our brains like us to believe otherwise. Another thing is serotonin, which is our feel-good neurotransmitter, decreases with estrogen. Because estrogen is low in that second phase, so is our serotonin. We are feeling less energetic, less confident, lower mood, and now we become more prone to negative thinking, anxiety, and self-criticism. So your body looks different, and your brain is in a state where it's more likely to focus on what's wrong. So then immediately you look in the mirror and think, what is wrong with me? I'm bloated, I'm puffy, I hate my body. And it feels so real in the moment, but it's not objective reality. It's your hormones that are fluctuating that are literally changing the perception of how you see your body. Let me share with you some of the strategies that helped me get out of this negative body image spiral, because to be honest, I wasn't accepting feeling like a bin bag for half of the month. The first thing was to start tracking my cycle. I don't know about you, but I received fuck all sex education when I was in school. My extent of my knowledge is how to slide a condom on a banana, and that really tells me nothing about what is going on in my female body and how to support myself. So I needed to figure it out myself, and the first step to do that was to download a period tracking app. There's so many out there. I personally use Stardust, but I have clients that use Flow or Clue. I know there has been some drama around Flow selling their data to Meta and whatnot. I'm not gonna go into this. Do your own research and make an informed decision. But even if you're not trusting technology and you don't want to use an app, you can simply use pen and paper. What I want you to start noting is the changes that you feel in your body at certain times of the month. What I've noticed were some patterns. About 10 or like 7 days before my period, I would feel bloating coming on. I also would see some breakouts. My mood would be lower, my energy would be lower, and I'd feel more snappy and irritable. And when you track it for a period of time, so 2 to 3 cycles, maybe 3 to 4, you'll start seeing that those things appear in clusters. And that information is really powerful because you're no longer blaming yourself. You can now blame PMS essentially. Another way that really helped with my body image as a cyclical woman was changing the way I measure progress. I used to obsess over scales, progress pictures, measurements, and I would religiously see how my body was changing, but without having an understanding of what is happening with my body and my brain. I would spiral anytime that the measurements would go up because I would be holding on to more water, I'd be bloated, or I would step on the scale and see it being 3 or 4 pounds up, even though I was supposed to be in a deficit because maybe I was on like a fat loss phase at the moment. And it used to send me into a spiral. And even when I had an understanding that, you know, it's not fat, it's not weight, it's simply like my hormones just doing its job, I still find it quite hard to internalize those facts, and sometimes it would just dictate how my mood was for the day. So I stopped doing it. Like I literally stopped weighing myself. I stopped taking pictures of myself. I stopped measuring my circumference because it just wasn't supporting me. And instead I started to look and measure other things. How was my energy? How was my strength in the gym? Was I eating good? Was I exercising because I felt that it supported my lifestyle and energy and it was something that I enjoyed? Or was it more so out of punishment and because I was trying to overcompensate from eating a certain food? And another thing is I stopped over-analyzing my body. I feel like as a society in general, we are obsessed with our appearance and looks, and we can put so much spotlight on that being the important thing, and it can take so much away from our energy and just like mental capacity to give to other things. So I've created some boundaries, especially in that luteal phase, where I just get dressed, have a quick look to make sure that I look put together, but I don't spend too much time just focusing on how my body looks because I know my brain is trying to play tricks with me, and I'm likely going to start to notice things that aren't really there because I am being self-critical of myself. So yeah, I just tend to create a little bit of that boundaries and barriers and space between just overemphasizing on my physique in those 7 days leading up to my period, and it really helps. And I just want to zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture, because when it comes to body image, it goes beyond just what happens hormonally within our cycle, but more so how we view and think of our bodies in general. One of the most damaging messages we've been taught to internalize is that our bodies are meant to stay the same, that we're meant to look exactly the same throughout the months and years. But this is not the case, especially not for women who have hormones, and that affects everything from our weight to our perception of our body, to our mood, to our skin. And even the hormonal changes aside, bodies fluctuate all the time, whether that's daily because you're going to look different after 8 or 9 hours of fasting during the night than you will at the end of the day having eaten 3 or 4 meals and drank like 3 liters of water. You're going to look different week to week based on where you are in your cycle, but your body is also going to change based on different seasons of your life. Sometimes you might have to prioritize other things other than keeping your body at the same weight and the same size. And you know what? Other times you might have to intentionally gain or lose weight based on your health condition. So I think we just need to stop putting ourselves into boxes and thinking that we're supposed to look the exact same all year around. I've also realized that it was me that was putting so much pressure on myself to look a certain way. And I mean, social media doesn't help with that. There are so many trends that are forever changing that it's really hard to keep up. And it makes you think that you need to constantly be changing to be accepted. So social media has a big role to play, but also I feel like I cared so much of what other people thought of me. And there's this concept in psychology called the spotlight effect, where we put so much emphasis on us. We'd like to think that people care about us so much more than they actually. And I'm not saying that in a harsh way. Realizing that this is the reality and people don't actually care about us as much as we think has been so relieving for me, because it meant that I didn't have to put as much pressure on myself that I did, because people genuinely don't care. People aren't paying attention to my body as much as I'm paying attention to my body. They're not noticing that I'm bloated. They're not noticing that I had some breakouts leading up to my period. They're not noticing, well, they definitely don't know that I weigh a couple of pounds more on a scale. They're living their own lives and also dealing with their own insecurities. Look, I hope that this whole conversation has helped you see that hormones that fluctuate throughout our body do influence the way our bodies look physically, but also they influence our brain chemistry and can lead to shifting the way that we view our body from week to week. But I do want to acknowledge that if you feel bad about your body all the time, not just around your cycle, that is a totally different conversation. It is something that needs to be addressed with somebody that specializes in helping women heal their relationship with their body, because cultivating a positive relationship with your body is the foundation. Okay, if you think about a foundation of a house, that needs to be steady, because everything else built on top of that is going to come crushing down. And I like to view my body as a home, and it needs steady foundation. Getting to a place where you accept your body, or you have body neutrality, is the first step to balancing your hormones, to achieving any fitness goals, to having an overall sense of fulfillment and enjoyment from your life. And I'm gonna wrap up this video here. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you are new here and enjoy this type of content, informational, science-backed and practical information that helps you understand and connect with your body better, then hit the subscribe button. I share videos like this every single week. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next video.